afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here. Hello with another episode of Snowflake Corner. We're covering news from outside the UK. The date and time is the 9th of July 2024 at 7 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming both on YouTube and Twitch, youtube.com/REGANELITE. Twitch.tv/REGANELITE1 for reference. Hello, who are here live. How are you all doing? I hope you guys are all doing well. Before we crack on and say hello to everyone, I've got some great news, guys. The lava lamp is back. Yes. Luckily, not only did I find that a lot, I found apparently. So I said before in the bath about how I had extra light bulbs and I misplaced them. I found them, put them in, and they didn't work. So it was actually, in fact, it needed another fuse. So not only did it need a new light bulb, but it also needed a new fuse as well. But yes, the lava lamp is back in all of its glory, guys, as is the orb and that. So the gang is pretty much all together there just for reference. So absolutely fantastic. So the orb is back once again, guys. So who have we got here in the chat? Ruth messaged earlier, I'll be at work, folks. No worries, Ruth. Thanks for leaving that message. Georgie Bettall says, love the content, but prepping for a trip to Norway. That's all right. Have a good time in Norway. Lovely, lovely. I would love to go to Norway. Definitely somewhere I would love to go on my vacation trips. Number 3, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jow is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Banker is here as well. Good to see you. Jeannie Bottle, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. I did say hello, Stephen Banker, didn't I? Yes, good to see you, Stephen Banker. If I didn't, I'm just double checking. I'm making sure I'm not going mad here. All right, so good to see you guys. Hope you're all doing well. So, right. So, obviously, let's talk about the French elections. I think it's really important that the context of the French election, I think, is really, really important. So we're going to be watching this video made by EU Made Simple YouTube channel, and I'll put a link. The link for the video is in the description. I do recommend subscribing and checking out their content. But it's about 8 minutes long, but I think it's really worth watching, guys. We're going to watch together because it really explains how the election results turned out the way they are, and then we'll read it, and then we're going to check out an analysis piece on this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is definitely fascinating because it really does. I've already watched it already, but I wanted to watch it with you guys because I think this is worth, especially for those who maybe don't understand how the French elections work. I think this is very good explainer in detail. So let's have a listen then, shall we?
The French General Assembly election results for the second round are finally in, and they are super unexpected. Le Pen's national rally did not win, nor did Macron's ensemble. Instead, the left-wing coalition emerged victorious, securing a plurality of seats. This surprising outcome marks a significant shift in the French political landscape and bears all kinds of consequences.
Yeah, see, so it's very important to understand how that this wasn't the president. This is not presidential elections. These are parliament elections over who gets control of the parliament. This is really important context there.
Bear in mind, though, that these are not presidential elections, but parliamentary, meaning that Macron will stay until 2027 as planned. But before we dive into the final results and what they mean, let's do a super quick recap of how French General Assembly elections work. In France, there are 577 constituencies, and in each constituency, one representative is elected to represent their constituency and party in the National Assembly. This means there are 577 seats in total, and
I think that's pretty much the same logic in the UK. I'm assuming, but obviously we have a first past the post system, which is indifference to us. Reg, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well, and Terry Regan here. Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well.
And 289 seats are required for a majority.
That's the key there, number 289 seats.
The election process involves a 2-round system. In the first round, which took place last week on June the 30th, citizens voted for candidates and their respective parties in their constituency. There are 2 possible outcomes in the first round. Either a single candidate receives 50% or more of the vote, or none of the candidates reach this threshold. If a candidate receives 50% or more, they automatically become a member of the National Assembly, a result known as an absolute majority vote. In this case, there will be no second round. If no candidate achieves 50%, which is much more common, a second round is held on the 7th of July, where the top candidates face off.
This is a much more respectable and more fairer way of doing things. This does. I like this because it gives voters an opportunity to say, okay, you voted for a candidate that you weren't suitable for. Okay, so we're going to narrow down. We've narrowed down the list for you, and give you guys one last chance to pick who you think the overall one is there. This is a very good system. I like this.
This example on the right illustrates what actually happened in this constituency last night. 3 candidates qualified for the second round. However, one candidate withdrew their candidacy before the runoff. Consequently, the remaining 2 candidates competed, with one ultimately winning the seat.
Oh, adverts. Yeah, it's a much cleverer system, that is. I just think it's a lot more simplified for those for me anyway, to make a better understanding of how French elections work. Obviously, I would say there's obviously, Joe, you're from Portugal. I don't know if it's the same way, but obviously a lot more democratic, shall we say, when it comes to these.
In the first round results from last week, only 76 out of the 577 constituencies had a single party winning by over 50%.
That's quite huge. It shows just how diverse France really is when it comes to their politics,
thus determining the outcome in one round. The remaining constituencies required a second round to decide the winners.
500.
So finally, what are the results? In the first round, the following seats were allocated. Le Pen's right-wing populist National Rally and their allies, 38 seats. The broad left-wing alliance New Popular Front, also called NFP, 32 seats. Macron's centrist Ensemble, only 2 seats. And the right-wing Republicans, only 1 seat.
That's only the first round as well. Wow, that's pretty bad for Macron. That's pretty bad for Macron. I know it's the first round, but still, oof. Yeah, Macron just doesn't have. He's just not popular. He's definitely lost his appeal there from based on that, in terms of a parliament's perspective. Anyway, Joe Lefty, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Last week, it really seemed as though Le Pen was poised to take France by storm. However, what happened in round 2 last night? At the time of recording, the Republicans won an additional 44 seats. The National Rally won 105 seats. Macron's Ensemble won a surprising 166 seats.
Wow.
And the New Popular Front won an additional 150 seats.
That's quite fascinating. If you look at looking at the two maps, and such a contrasting change. And the second round is obviously where, as they'll say in the video, obviously where tactical voting came in of we've got to stop the right from coming in. But there's a part of me that I argue as well, is that even though that, like here in the UK, we wanted to kick out the Conservatives and we would want to keep reform out. Is it right? Yeah, is it right that we tactically vote out parties that are not that we don't think is in our own interests here? It does feel a little bit screwy, if I'm honest. Just the more read into this.
Now, if we add the first and second round results, we get the following. And here it's clear. The left-wing alliance emerges as the clear winner, and Macron in second place.
That's quite significant. So the Reassemblement Nationale, Le Pen obviously party, falls third place, which is quite huge. Yeah, that is quite massive to be fair.
Which was rather unexpected. However, 289 seats are needed for a majority. And even the New Popular Front is not even close to meeting that target, as they would need to have an additional 107 seats.
So what do we do here?
This was unexpected, as polls before the election showed a National Rally in first place, but they ended up in third. The National Rally's party president, Jordan Bardella, slammed what he called the unnatural alliance between Macron and the leftists.
You screwed us over. This is a rigged election. No, we don't want you. We don't want you in Parliament. We don't want you having the power. That's what this is. The overwhelming majority from both the other parties, despite their indifferences, did not want your party in any kind of power. That's it.
To stop by all means National Rally's most important surge of its history.
If if they really were the party of the French people, they would have won over the numbers that they need to. But they aren't winning over the numbers that they need to.
What he means is that if a National Rally candidate advanced to the second round along with 2 other candidates, the centrist and left-wing parties have strategically withdrawn their candidates in third place. This move was aimed at consolidating votes against the far-right candidate, thereby increasing the chances of defeating the National Rally candidate in the second round. They did this in over 200 constituencies, and let's be honest, it worked. But what does this mean though? At EU Made Simple, we see 3 ways forward. But before, he's gonna do a little promo thing. But of moderates. Before the election, Macron and his allies floated the idea of building a broad coalition, including moderate lawmakers from both the left and the right, to counter the far-right influence. For example, Macron could try and bring together Ensemble, the Socialist Party, Greens, and some of the Republicans. However, given the highly polarized political landscape, forming such a coalition is difficult and could lead to a paralyzed legislature. Plus, Mélenchon from the far-left France Unbowed has already stated in a victory speech that the NFP is not interested in a coalition with Macron centrists or the right-wing Republicans.
Well, then what happens then? You just have, so what? Nothing's going to happen. You can't. That's not going to work. You need to have another. We're going to have another parliament then, or something, because something has to give here. Because how is parliament supposed to work? Like, it just seems so. It's basically what they have is a hung parliament, pretty much, in this situation. So yeah. Now they have to negotiate and listen to all options. They do have to. There needs to be some compromise here. But him here saying he's not going to listen to either parties. That's not helping anyone in this situation.
However, maybe some of the other parties within this coalition can be swayed. The second option is a NFP minority government. Given the new Popular Front's large share of seats, Macron may be forced to appoint one of their leaders as prime minister. But this already presents the very first problem. Who? So far, the coalition has not been able to put forward a person who could be the prime minister. The third option is a blocked parliament. With 3 large groups unable to agree, we could find ourselves with a blocked parliament, where any attempt at government faces a motion of no confidence. In other words, a majority disagrees and votes against it. French institutions would be paralyzed and no laws could be passed. This could be particularly difficult for civil servants if it results in the budget never being voted on.
This is the problem. This is one of the downsides of having. This is one of the downsides of a proportional representation of when political parties are not willing to compromise with each other. You can have situations where things are frozen in stagnation because parties are not willing to compromise and work together with each other. It's good in terms of democracy, where people get to vote for who they want. But also, at the same time, there are situations like this going to occur where everybody is sticking to their corner, sticking on their ground. They're putting their flag or they're putting their vote behind a certain political party, and they're not willing to compromise because they don't trust the other parties.
It is possible that this situation could even continue until the 2027 presidential elections.
That would be really bad for France's economy.
To get out of this impasse is the appointment of a technocrat government, comprising of ministers with no party affiliation, similar to the government led by Mario Draghi in Italy from 2021 to 2022.
That would be interesting.
This approach aims to manage the country impartially and maintain stability until a more permanent solution is found. However, it is unlikely that a majority can be found for this solution. In more extreme cases, we could see constitutional reform or even an early presidential election, but these seem very unlikely.
Unlikely, but the options are on the table for them.
But we will address them in future videos if they become an option.
Yeah, they're very, very interesting to say the least. Paul, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, guys, the link for this video is in the description if you want to have a watch of it. It's from the YouTube channel EU Made Simple. And I thought that was a very good explanation of just kind of get us a better understanding of the analysis and the situation that we have there. So let's have have a look at this. So this is from CNN. Macron's gamble has kept the far right out of power, but has plunged France into chaos. So yeah, he has. So he basically, yeah, he did throw a gamble here. But the question is, has he shot France in the foot by doing so in order for him to try to keep the far right at bay? That's the thing is, and I think in a way he has dealt a blow to the far right, but in doing so he's also hurt the country in doing so as well, because of what the situation that France is in right now. So it's a catch-22 situation for the French, if I'm honest. The French people. The position of the political groups is public and is known. So if they act like kids, everyone knows, and the more infuriating the punished in the voting. That is true, but at the end of the day, it's down. Like, people can change. I mean, obviously, as of right now, the votes have been decided. This is where people cast their votes. Of course, people can change their minds. No, I'm not. Of course, people can change their minds and cast differently in what they think is in the best interest for them. If they think to put in their vote somewhere else is in their best interest, but this is where PR and fair democracy can sometimes shoot yourselves in the foot when you have politicians and political parties who aren't willing to compromise whatsoever with each other. And if they don't willing compromise, then obviously they'll put in that like I said in the video, a technocrat government of some sort to kind of maintain things. But yeah, it has really thrown a spanner really into normal French politics. That is for sure. It is. I wouldn't call it a victory because I know some people are calling this a French victory. I wouldn't call this a victory because because the French people did not get what they want. They didn't get Macron's Macron's party. They didn't get the center right, the center party. They didn't get the center right. It's no one outright got the majority needed to govern. So no, it's more like people can call it a win because he kept the far right out. But I also think it's just as much as it's a loss, for those who are sitting on the sidelines, who maybe aren't as keen or deep into politics, maybe, because they're obviously, like here in the UK, there are people in France who aren't interested in politics and just want to make sure that things get run normally. And some of those things may get affected, obviously, by this outcome. Good evening, Ben Shaw. Good to see you. So let's read into this. So I threw my live grenade at their feet, is how French President Emmanuel Macron reportedly saw his call for a snap election after a stinging far-right victory in June's European election. It was an explosive gamble, which the final result took the country by surprise. France's left-wing alliance coming in first with 182 seats, and the far-right trailing in third place, a shocking reversal of last Sunday's first-round polls. En place de la République in Paris, news of a projected result is met with rapturous applause and fireworks as people embrace one another, breathing a collective sigh of relief in their eyes. France has been pulled back from the brink. Turnout on Sunday was the highest in parliamentary election for more than 20 years. Wow, that's quite an achievement. As French citizens took to the ballot box to make their feelings known, they did not want the far right to govern. But if they didn't, if the people, okay, so look, this is the thing, right? They did not want the far right to govern. So why are they still the third largest party? Because people seriously back them. And this is the same stuff, guys, with the likes of Reform and the Conservatives. And you say to yourself, why are people still backing them? Well, because they believe in that stuff. However, with the far left falling short of the 289 seats needed for a majority, and with a weakened president, the National Assembly is expected to be more fractured than ever. What is certain is that France is to enter a prolonged period of instability as three opposing blocs with competing ideas and agendas to try and form coalition or find themselves stuck in a state of paralyse. To see how this is a map, obviously, will indicate. So to see how France's 2024 hung parliament compares to the last election. While the new leftist New Popular Front, the NPF, won the most seats, avoiding the far-right government, Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party gained its highest ever seat count and became the largest individual party in the parliament. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Macron's centrist Ensemble party finished second after the runoff in the election. So you can see there, obviously, in the numbers. Yeah, no one's got an outright majority. Yeah, 182, 163, 143, and 89 others there. And then this was in 2022. There you can see they had obviously a bigger sway. Excuse me, 245. And then 131, the new Ecological and Social People's Unions Party there. Pan left-wing coalition founded by the France Unbold Party is now part of the NPF, National Rally, and others there. So, yeah, quite a contrast from 2 years ago there on that Parliament election. Visibly disappointed, the far-right National Rally leader Jordan Butler argued that his party's defeat was only made possible by a tactical voting orchestrated by Macron and the left-wing NFP coalition that decided to withdraw 200 candidates from the race this week in an effort to block the far right. Though the RN didn't do as well as expected, it's still a victory for French far right Donald Marine Le Pen, with her party getting more votes with each passing election. 8 in 2017, 89 in 2022, and 143 in 2024, with the latter with the help of allies. Yeah, see, this is the thing. This is the problem here, is that you're not. Yes, you're stopping them getting into power, but you're not winning over the. Are you winning over the voters? And the answer is no. You're not winning over the voters. More and more people are backing them. 20. You can see here 8 from 89 and now 143. They are winning the numbers. They are winning over the numbers. For the left-wing NFP alliance, it is going to have a tough time speaking with one voice. The last time it formed a blog under the name of Numes in 2022, it fell apart because of personal differences as well as policy. The blog brings together 5 different parties: a far-left France Unbold and the Communist Party has joined with the centre-left parties, the Socialists and the Greens, to form a new popular front. Now the challenge is no longer whether the left can unite against the far right, but rather can the different groups work together to agree on who might be Prime Minister from their camp, and then on the policies that they might pursue. With such a divided parliament, there is no hope for a major structural reforms at the domestic level. At best, the lefties can hope for an ad hoc alliances to vote through individual pieces of legislation. It's equally hard to imagine how the current constellation would allow France to play an important role regarding Ukraine. Macron in the past has vowed to continue supporting Ukraine militarily, while Le Pen said her party would prevent Kyiv using French-supplied long-range weapons to strike inside Russia and would oppose sending French troops. The left has remained relatively quiet on Ukraine. Different parties from the coalition have slightly different stances. France Unbold is against what it calls escalation with Russia. Macron's central blog seems to have held up quite well, winning 163 seats, even though it lost roughly 100 MPs. It's a much better result than what the polls were suggesting, although we will see a shift in power from the Elysee to the National Assembly. Macron's gamble may have prevented the far right from coming to power, but he could yet plunge the country into chaos, and with no parliamentary elections scheduled for another year, France is in for another uncertain time, with the eyes of the world firmly on Paris as it prepares to welcome the Olympics in 3 weeks' time. Yes, let's not forget the Olympics is coming as well. So obviously that's going to be just a couple of weeks away. So yeah, like the thing is, I understand keeping out I understand the intention of keeping out the far right, and I know they are dangerous. I know they are. But if the majority of the French people want it, is it anti-democratic that we are stopping something that the vast majority of the French people want? See, that's the part. See, that kind of tears me, and it does obviously raise the questions about that. Now, obviously, that video really did help explain how French elections work in their parliament as well. But it is certainly like people call it a victory. I don't call it a victory overall, because it just means that there's too much disagreement, and it seems like it almost comes across like a desperate attempt to stop them at any and every cost. It's not good for France in any way, shape, or form. This outcome. Suzanne, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. It wasn't enough to block them from getting control. We need to address many of the problems driving people to feel this way. And the only way to voice discontent, some are true believers, others are angry. Yeah, this is what these parties and obvious they need to win over these hearts and minds of those who are behind the far right. They need to win over these hearts and minds. They need to address the issues that those on the right those who are right on the right, They need to address the issues of them and win over these hearts and minds. Because if you don't win over these hearts and minds, they're just going to stay embedded in the party. You have to win these over. Feels like the French don't want Macron, but they didn't vote for the left-wing coalition enough to have them govern. Yes, that definitely. I think the French people have had enough of Macron. I think it's gotten to that point now. I do agree with that comment, Paul. We have the president to force them to get along. He has done it recently with some budget issues, and the budget was approved, says Zhao. Chaos is democracy. Forcing politicians to deal with the previous situation was even worse. Yes, but are they willing to work together? Like it's all well and good saying that, but it's making them work together. French Home Parliament sounds even worse than R1 says it sounds like no one can govern. Well, at the moment, like we need to see after, obviously there will be talks. I do think there'll be talks behind the scenes that we don't know about. So I do think there's going to be some talks, but how much of that obviously is going to be a question. But it's yeah, I just part of me just feels like this is not really. People obviously have their say, but is it really what the French people wanted was this? And I think that's the question. But obviously, we are sitting on the outside, so it's hard for me to understand the mindsets of French politics, of what the French people would say. Even more reason why I need to have a one-to-one chat with Marcus Allshort sometimes, so we can talk about not just what's happening here in the UK, but also with French politics. So I'll see if I can get him on for a show sometime. Simon says 55. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Just a reminder, guys, this Thursday I'll be having myself and I've got a live stream obviously tomorrow at 8, but on Thursday, obviously myself and One Angry Pagan will be coming together. We're talking all about politics and what not to do. Feel free to come and check us out there, guys. It'd be greatly appreciated. So let's move on, guys. From this, obviously, it will be still plenty to cover. Is this the right one? Yeah, I'm just checking it's the right thread. Yep. So this one, obviously, guys, I know normally I cover quite a lot of videos, obviously, on Rumble. This is one of the latest ones that's dropped, obviously, from what's happening in Israel and Gaza. And at least 50 people have been killed in Israeli attacks as Gaza City fighting rages. So Gaza City residents ordered by Israeli army to move to the central Deir al-Bashir, which the UN said is already overcrowded with displaced Palestinians. So once again, guys, they're just the innocent people not involved in this, who aren't affiliated with Hamas, being pushed. And as Duda says, like literally being pushed completely from one place to another all across that country. And it's just, yeah, I mean, they cannot kill Hamas. You can't kill Hamas. Like, they think they can kill Hamas. This is not going to solve anything. A ceasefire is what is desperately needed at this point. It's desperately needed. This is just, and once again, we're going to have the same, just continuing on with this. And I know it's been a while since I've talked a bit more about what's happening inside Gaza. But, I mean, another 50 people. But obviously, this is not how they will portray it on some other news websites, obviously. So Israeli forces ramped up attack on areas across the northern Gaza Strip despite new ceasefire discussions taking place. And at least 50 people were killed in the latest 24-hour report period, and dozens wounded in strikes throughout the besieged a coastal enclave, Gaza's Ministry of Health has said on Tuesday. Yeah, 50 more lives lost, yeah. Israeli tanks deepened their incursions into some Gazan cities districts such as Sholoriya, Shabina and Tali al-Hawiya, where residents reported some of the fiercest fighting since the start of the war. The armed wing of Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad said they fought against Israeli soldiers in Tel al-Hawana with anti-tank rockets and motor fire and inflicted casualties. Gaza City residents reported explosions and numerous gun battles as well as helicopter strikes through the night in southwestern neighborhoods. The Israeli army has focused its attention on Gaza City after announcing it had intelligence showing Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad fighters were operating there. Gaza City residents have now been told to move to the central district of Deir al-Bashir, in which the United Nations has said it is already seriously overcrowded with Palestinians displaced from other areas of the Gaza Strip. I mean, it's already, yeah, as they said, they're already overcrowded. Like, where are they supposed to go? Verti, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. In the first week of the war, Israel had called on civilians in the north of the enclave to move south, declaring the area a safe zone. But they expanded its attacks there. Mona Musford fled her home with her 2 children and many other Palestinians from Gaza City zonal neighborhood. She said her area was not included in the latest evacuation orders, but we are panicked because the bombing and gunfire are very close to us. Yeah, so still, obviously, guys, like I say, obviously I try to cover as much as I've dropped plenty of content, obviously, over on the Rumble page, on Rumble channel. If you want to check that out, link is in the description. But obviously, I'll try and keep you guys up to date with what's going on with some shorts videos, and probably on Friday I'll have obviously a cover up more on Friday as well regarding to what's happening with Israel and Gaza. But again, like not too much there information there. It's only that one's come down today, and that's only just obviously more people are suffering as a result. And yeah, it's really a really sad state of affairs, guys. It really is. So guys, just want to say, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. Apparently, I've reached 1,550 subscribers, which is fantastic. So obviously, like I said, I want to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year if possible. So we're more than halfway there. So yeah, thanks for everyone who subscribed. It's really appreciated. Going to take a little break, guys, because we're about 41 minutes into the live stream. We've got just roughly about under an hour or so before Max goes live with his live stream. We will finish before then, I do promise that, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this funny video here from Foil and Arms, and which is titled "A Snob in Prison." Hope you enjoy.
Well now, here we are, the prison cafeteria. Yes, all the inmates gathered around breaking bread together. The repartee between the vagabonds. The furtive glances between the prison guards and the inmates. Who knows what will happen? Indeed. I have inquired about a southeasterly facing cell. The aspect, don't you know? And I haven't heard anything back. How does one join a gang here? Is it a lengthy process? Do I need references? Indeed, the hardest prison to escape is one's own mind. Although I may have found the perfect antidote is the complete Bronte collection. You can borrow mine whenever you like, but you must promise that you highlight your favourite prose. I've ruined my life.
You finishing that?
There is a gentleman on the floor above me who wishes to fight me. I told him I do my talking on the chessboard. The soup here lacks balance, but the addition of small shavings of bone within the mincemeat offer an unusual and unexpected grittiness.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yes, it's foul. Do you know the minimalist architecture within these walls? It does strike me as reminiscent of the Debordement Gallery in Verona.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of here on good behaviour. Yeah?
Word on Block B is that you're a man who can acquire things, as the saying goes.
Yeah?
A backgammon board, a fondue set, a full-bodied Merlot. Now, I know we're in prison, so a Malbec will be fine. I do hope that the screws don't find my stash of stuffed olives. Well, it'll be 5 weeks in the hole for me. I thought, to pass the time, how about we play a word association game?
No.
I'll say a word, and then you say the first word that comes into your head.
Red.
Sanguine.
Time.
Anachronistic.
I don't know.
Well, it's easy. You just say the first word that comes into your head.
Chocolate.
Blanche.
I don't want to play anymore.
Capitulation.
No.
Cessation.
Stop it.
Desist. The infamous prison shank. No one saw anything, need I ask? Did you know that I visited the Louvre or you know.
I was I was just like thinking, when are you gonna get? When are you gonna get it, mate? You. Oh dear, Four in Arms, guys. The title of the video is "Snob in Prison." I hope you guys enjoyed that little funny video. Right, let's go straight into the next one, guys. So, this one from the Associated Press, guys. So Biden said he won't step aside, but even if he does, here's why Kamala Harris is the favorite to replace him. This is coming from the Association Press, and the Association Press are one of the most reliable news outlets on the planet, guys. They are one of the most reliable ones. For them to say why they think Harris is the favorite to replace him, really raises alarm bells for me. She's not popular. She's not popular, guys. She really is not. Many people believe that she's only in the position of vice president simply because she's a woman and she's of color. That is what a lot of people's perceptions of Kamala Harris is, regardless of what her accolades and that. That's what many people see her as. I know it sounds wrong to say such a thing, but that is the reality of what many Americans that I've read and what I've heard is what people say about why Kamala is in the role that she is in. Can I see the American people backing Kamala Harris if she took over Biden's role? It depends if she's willing to change tune on certain policies and that on with Biden. But I just don't see this happening. But even if a long shot is, would she be strong enough to knock Biden off? I think knock Trump off in debates. Yeah, I think she could knock Trump out in debates. That's not my problem. The problem is actually, would people be willing enough to vote for her? That's the question. I think actually they might just do. They might just do, guys. So President Joe Biden insists that only the Lord Almighty can convince him to quit the presidential race, but should he change her mind, Vice President Kamala Harris is by far the best positioned to replace him. Harris would have a head start over several of the most discussed Democratic alternatives like California Governor Gary Newsom and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She has already been on the winning presidential ticket with Biden, has years of goodwill backed with core party constituents, and would likely control the huge campaign fund amassed by Biden's re-election. I'm still. The president can easily lock up Democratic nominations, and party rules prevent him from simply transferring the delegates he amassed during next month's Democratic National Convention. By a number of delegates have already suggested that they be loyal to Harris. Biden picking up Harris could limit potential chaos and avoid floor fights that do lasting damage to whoever emerges to take on Republican Donald Trump. Harris makes the most sense to carry on the Biden legacy, said Andrew Fieldman, a Democratic strategic who worked closely with various state parties, and stressed that the question was purely hypothetical since Biden insisted that he won't bow out. Fredman has added that Biden's administration agenda has been tremendously popular in terms of the issues that they've championed, and that the president and Harris have been doing that in partnership. Andrea Seat's wife, a South Carolina-based Democratic strategic, noted that voters 4 years ago put 78-year-old Biden in the overall office knowing Harris was next in line, and that Biden walled off primary challenges this year at 81, with Democratic voters knowing Harris remained second in command. Democrats have voted for Joe Biden with Kamala Harris, Seawright had said. But the thing is, if this, why did they not contemplate, when Biden became president, for him to only do 4 years? Why did they not have a serious discussion about this? Because literally I have a short video dropping of 4 Democrats already stating that they're not going to back Joe Biden. The thing is, if what they're saying is true about Kamala Harris, right? There are many people on the Harris ticket as well as Biden, right? Surely someone would have thought maybe it's best that Joe Biden does not run another 4 years after this, simply because of his age. Let's have Kamala Harris. Let's build her up. Let's have her run from vice president to president, as he passes on the mantle. Give Biden 4 years as president. He's got 4 years under bag. You know, let's give it to Kamala Harris. Like, should have done it that way. They should have done it that way for me, because I just think that the American people just are not fully behind Joe Biden. They're not. That's the reality. Obviously, the next debate between the two is going to be crucial. It's going to be absolutely crucial for Biden, because if he screws up again, he's done. Like, if he screws up the second TV debate, he's done. He really is done if he screws up the second TV debate. Harris is the first woman to serve as vice president, as well as the first black woman and person of South Asian descent. African Americans are Democrats' largest and most loyal bloc of supporters. Yes. Bipartisan and historic number 2 for anyone else, even a popular alternative from a key swing state, would already be difficult. Being seen as leading a change against someone who broke gender and racial barriers could forever mark the challenger as disloyal in future Democratic primaries. Gillian Carr, who leads the Higher Heights Political Action Committee, which supports his black female candidates across the country, said the public suggestion that Harris could be bypassed for another top Democrat in Biden's absence shows just how much black women are oftentimes overlooked. You want black women to organise our houses, our blocks, our churches, our socialist cast said, then they've got to stand by our leadership. Republican Jamie Crockett of Texas said it's impossible to understate what it means for black women to see Harris hold a national office. No, of course, I'm not taking that away, but a lot of people have the perception as well is that a lot of people do feel that she's been put in that place simply because a lot of people are put in that a lot of people have stated that they feel that she's been put in that place because that she's a woman and she's of color. I'm just stating what many people have heard and said. Okay, Gamer Jane, sure. That's on Twitch chat. Thanks for the comment either way. Since Biden's disastrous debate, Democrats have mentioned a parade of top alternatives who could run for president's place. In addition to Whitmer and Newsom, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Solow, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker have been subject of rumors. All of them have said that they continue to back Biden. So Larry the Cat, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. The debate turns maybe an even disaster. Trump was able to lie his head off unchallenged, and so no matter how mad his statements, he came off as someone that looked more mentally capable. Yeah, because he was literally Biden was stumbling, and he was literally just and he didn't need to say anything. Just let him fall. And this can happen again in the second debate. But in dozens of interviews, Democratic operatives, pollsters, and elected officials report there has not been that kind of furious political jockering for support for someone other than Harris at the convention that would be necessary. If Biden were to step aside, any such discussions would occur quietly and prematurely, would be almost certainly be forced to opt out if Biden was to lead the race, making continuing them more difficult. Everyone would rather be a starter than a pinch hitter, Feldman has said. For instance, Democratic fundraiser bundler Barry Goodman, a Michigan attorney who was a finance co-chairman for both the Wilmer statewide campaigns, said he did not know of any coordinated efforts of the governor's part to rally support. Further possibilities to help smooth the switch from Biden to Harris is a campaign finances. The vice president and his official running mate can access the $91 million cash on the hand the president's campaign has raised, which grows to $240 million when including allied Democratic organizations. In ways Democratic alternatives likely can't. For his part, Trump is already attempting to energize donors with the idea that Democrats could swap out Biden for Harris. The former president sent fundraising emails titled Biden dropping out and President Kamala Harris. At 59, the vice president is 22 years Biden's junior. A former prosecutor, she can deliver a withering attack in the debate, as Biden himself once faced during the 2020 Democratic presidential primary when Harris tore into him over his one-time opposition on schooling busing as a means of desegregation. Yeah, this is the thing. I generally think in a serious political presidential debate between Harris and Trump, she will wipe the floor with Trump. She will wipe the floor with him because she will call out the BS every opportunity she'll get. She won't just deal with little tit for tat things that Biden was saying in the first debate. She will wipe the floor with him. She will. She's capable of doing that. The vice president's legal background might also have more closely to the ideals of today's Democratic Party, which has largely moved to the center of criminal justice and law and order messaging in recent years after a nationwide protest against racial injustice in 2020 that helped energize the defund the police movement. Biden has seen his approval rating fall sharply among black Americans, a trend Harris hopes to reverse before November. Still, Biden has a long struggled with low approval ratings among Americans more generally, and the vice president doesn't fare much better. About 39% of US adults have a slow, very or somewhat favorable opinion of vice president, which is in line with Biden's 40% favorability. By an AP NORC Center for Public Affairs Research poll conducted in June found that slightly fewer have unfavorable views of Harris, 49% compared to Biden's 57%. Harris has a 62% favorability among black Americans compared to 37% for Hispanic Americans and 35% for white Americans. Those are all similar to Biden's, though there could be more opportunities for her to shape opinions. Roughly 12% of US adults said they aren't familiar enough with Harris to give an opinion, whereas nearly everyone has an opinion of Biden. And this is the thing. Yeah, how many people outside the US know that Kamala know who the name of the can actually name the vice president of the United States? That's the thing as well. Many people don't know Kamala Harris. Many people aren't aware of her, and that's not a knock on her. The thing is that you have to build a successor. When you have to start laying the groundwork for your next successor down the road. Whether that's 4 years or 8 years, you need to start building the successor. And if they were serious about Kamala Harris being the next president, they should have prepared her for this. They should have prepared her for this and given Biden 4 years. But if I'm wrong, if Biden wins and has another 4 years, then I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong. But as of right now, at this time of this recording, I don't see Biden winning. Unless he does some real knockout blows to Trump at the next TV debate, I do not see Biden stopping Trump as of right now. But if they had built up Kamala Harris, like really built up a profile, more nationwide and more globally, like I just don't think they did enough yet to allocate a noise for her. What are you guys saying in the chat then? The second debate that Trump wants has even fewer rules. Essentially, he would be able to just rant at Biden. Yeah. I'm assuming there'll be no mute button this time as well, so they can both just kind of throw hot shots and then challenge each other to golf matches again. The thing is that it doesn't automatically go to Kamala, though, and she is not liked by voters. Exactly. It's not automatic anyway, but it's just what the Association Press are suggesting. What they are saying there, and obviously those polls there are kind of like you just have to kind of the polls there you have to take with a pinch of salt anyway. I think the hope is that now that it's really too late to replace Biden unless we were to have a major health problem or die. People would people would look to the VP pick. Yeah, that's the only. I think that's the case now because I think if they were to push him aside, they would have done so already. I think so. There, so well, obviously I have to keep an eye on it. I actually need to find out when the next US debate is, so I can actually mark it on the calendar, so I can actually be more prepared for it. Because I missed the schedule of it, so that's something I need to. Let me just quickly write that down. US debate, so I can. What I'll do is I'll write them down on my calendar, so when I can next do them there. So, guys, just before I go to the next article, I've got two more for you. If we have time, we'll go to the Kyiv Independent and look at the deep state map as well before, if we have time. I don't know if we will or not, but I do have funny memes to share as well. But, guys, one of the ways you can support me is there are financial ways you can support me and the channel and the work that I do here on this channel, guys. All the live streams that I do for you guys are not monetized. I don't make any money whatsoever from these live streams. The only income that I make from live streams are either from super chats or from any gifted memberships. So any of them is greatly appreciated. But one of the ways you can also financially support me is by becoming a YouTube member. 99p may not sound like much, but it really does help, and it gives you access to some exclusive perks like these guys behind me. So not only Ollie, Pingu, and Cash Dummy behind the lava lamp there. Supports me, and you get emojis of all these people behind me as well. You get fancy cool custom emojis that you can use in the live streams and premiere videos whenever I drop them as well. And also you get access, obviously, to community members posts whenever I drop members posts as well. There are also some exclusive members polls that I do every now and then for you guys as well. And also, if you are a $2.99 member, you get early access to additional content. I've got another 2 videos I've made today. I will be making them available to members at some point today, so keep an eye out for them. So remember, members get early access to additional content if you are a $2.99 member or more. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone and anyone who has been a member, who has carried on as a member. It is greatly appreciated. Other ways you can financially support me if you don't want to do it via YouTube. There are other ways you can do that by buying me a coffee, or you can join me on Patreon. I've had quite a few members and now joined Patreon, and I greatly appreciate everyone who's joined me on there. They get access to being a Patreon supporter. You get access to exclusive content as well as the free content that you get as well. Some exclusive videos on there as well as exclusive videos, as I mentioned earlier, on Rumble. So thank you to everyone and everyone who has supported me in any way, shape, or form. It is really, really appreciated, guys. So the next one I've got for you guys, not really too much of a discussion, too much to talk about on this one, but I did want to share this one because I thought this was quite a fascinating one here. Even though it's from Africa News, I still think it's quite an interesting one here, especially the significance of trade, especially on a global scale. So the Panama Canal Authority's plans for a $1.6 billion reservoir here. So the Panama Canal, guys, for those who don't know, I do recommend checking out the YouTube channel Real Life Law. It's done a video on some of the I've done a video on the Panama Canal a while ago and talked about how the water reservoir has actually, the way obviously that they require a huge amount of water to get ships going through in and out the Panama Canal, and it's becoming a problem in terms of water. So obviously there's this plan for a £1.6 billion reservoir is needed, obviously, and this canal obviously is not just good. It's not just important for global trade. It's important. It's vital for Panama's economy as well. So we really do. This is really, really needed, considering that the water levels, because they get the water. They've been getting their waters from some lakes and rivers not too far from it, but they've been drying up because of climate change. So obviously, it's becoming a problem, obviously. So let's read a bit into this, guys. So the waterway managers announced on Monday that a court decision may allow the building of new reservoirs to supply water to the Panama Canal. So the Panama Canal has limited the number of ships it can travel through each day due to a drought caused by a decrease in supply of fresh water required to operate the locks. Exactly. So they've had to, obviously, that's affected global trade because obviously less trade is now going through. And obviously it's way too expensive for businesses, obviously, to travel all the way around the whole of South America, obviously, to get around to the other side. It's much cheaper, obviously. It's much better, and it's much more prudent, obviously, to go through the Panama Canal. The construction project phase is set to last between 3 to 4 years. Panama has long desired a construction additional reservoir to support the primary water source from Lake Gudum. However, a rule implemented in 2006 prevented any expansion beyond the original watershed. So Eastern Shipping Worldwide has obviously made the announcement there on Twitter. Ila Espinal, the assistant canal administrator, thinks the discussion might last for 18 months. Yeah. After that, the construction could take up to 3 to 4 years. Yeah. So there's still like a year and a half before any kind of groundwork can begin. The entire project is expected to unfold over a 6-year period, as indicated in our timeline and analysts in terms of social, environmental, construction, and reservoir filling considerations. According to the Panama Canal Administrator, the reservoirs are essential not just for the operations of the Panama Canal, but also to guarantee access to clean water for the Panamanian population as required by law. Yeah, of course. And if you take away the water, you're gonna kill the people. So you can't. They need the water as well. So the rainfall has been insufficient to support the watershed system of rivers and streams that supply water to the current reservoir system, which in turn fills the locks that transport ships over the terrain. This watershed is also essential to provide fresh water to Panama City, where about half the country's 4 million people live. But in order to proceed with the project near the Indigo River bastion, authorities need to approval from roughly 12,000 residents residing in about 200 villages in the facility. Yeah, that's going to be trouble as well. Global shipping has been thrown into disarray due to the decrease in canal traffic to 31 ships per day compared to the typical 36 to 38. Yeah. The distribution comes at a time when other important water routes are experiencing difficulties, exacerbated by the attacks in the Red Sea by the Yemen Houthi rebels, which have forced vessels to take longer and more expensive routes around Africa. Yeah, so obviously that other point has obviously been problematic as well. So yeah, this is needed obviously in terms of the Panama Canal. But I've obviously, like I said, I do. If you can find, if you go onto their YouTube channel, Real Life Law, and have a look on it, obviously, the good understanding of why this is so important for global trade, because global trade is already suffering as it is. So they do need to get this. They do need to compromise. Obviously, they need to work in cooperation with residents and with the government to ensure it. But yeah, the reservoir will be a massive boost. And that Panama Canal obviously needs to function. If that stops functioning, global trade will take a massive hit. Everyone will suffer as a result of it. Everyone. And I don't care which part of the world you're on, you will suffer. There will be ripple effects from it if the Panama Canal has any problems. So it does need to be addressed for sure. So Larry the Cat says maybe they can teach Thames Water how to build a bloody reservoir, but they've not built anything since it privatised. Yeah, maybe. For sure. Don Dustley and his running mate Muttley, who just wants a medal, says Jeannie Bottle. Jow says, and Biden need to also mention and intensify the fact that Trump is all about the same as his age. Trump is 78, too old to president as well. Suzanne says, hopefully ABC will be nicer than CNN when it comes to others streaming it. Is it ABC who are the next debate? Thanks for that, Suzanne. I'll have a. I'm going to mark that on my calendar. I appreciate that. September the 10th is the next scheduled date. Thank you. 10th of the 9th. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Obviously, it's not that hard to look up, but Harris is not a good 2-week device. Yeah. The Panama Channel is essential for Europe. Yeah. It's also essential. It's essential for Europe, essential for America. It's essential, obviously, for trade. It's just essential for all trade. Obviously, Africa and those going from Africa over to, let's say, all the way to America on the other side of America, of the western side of America, or the western side, or Chile as well. It affects. It's an essential, vital trade, and I think that's really important there. So the next one I've got for you guys, if I've put this in the right place, which I have not, I don't think. So this one is from the BBC. I think looks like based on the time we might have a look at the Kyiv Independent as well. I did want to keep the articles down. So Biden condemns the Russia brutality after deadly Ukraine strikes. So yeah, this absolutely abhorrent strike. Rescuers clearing the rubble of the Almaty Children's Hospital in Kiev, guys. So I think I'm pretty sure I did this in a short video, or if I've not, I've already covered it in a video last week or a live stream last week. This is absolutely disgusting. Like a children's hospital. Like, I mean, come on. I know this war between Russia and Ukraine is not as brutal as what's happening in Gaza. But still, lives are being lost. I try to report as much whenever casualties, whenever there's people injured or any lives are lost in this Ukraine war. I do try to report it in short videos to you guys because I do feel a sense of obligation to try and keep you guys up to date about what's happening in Ukraine. But a children's hospital, that's just so out of order. And the thing is, it's I understand in wars, obviously, there are civilian casualties. I understand that. I understand that sometimes missiles hit things they're not supposed to hit. But we're talking about kids here. And, and they've already kidnapped loads of children already, Russia. And, this is just absolutely disgusting. So the US President Joe Biden has condemned a wave of Russian missile strikes that killed at least 38 people in Ukraine as a horrific reminder of Russia's brutality, and he vowed to strengthen Kiev's air defenses. At least 190 were injured across the country, including some at Ukraine's biggest children's hospital in the central Kiev on Monday. Ukraine published photos on Tuesday in what was said were recovered fragments of a Russian cruise missile that hit the Omatali hospital. If I mispronounced the name, I do apologise. Russia claimed the blast was caused by a misfiring Ukraine air defense missile, but the UN said it was highly likely Moscow was behind the attack, and conclusions shared by analysts who spoke to BBC verify. Yeah, well, of course they would say, no, that was not our intention. Our intention was not to hit the children's hospital. Yeah, sure it wasn't. It comes as President Joe Biden prepares to host a NATO summit in Washington later on Tuesday. That's today. He said further boosts to Ukraine's air defences would be announced at the meeting. I believe the Prime Minister Keir Starmer will be there as well, so that hopefully he'll have good meetings as well. Leaders from the 30... Oh, no, he won't be because he was in Parliament today. I don't think he'll make it. Leaders from the 32 NATO member states and their partner countries and the EU are gathering to mark the 75th anniversary of the blog. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is also expected to attend. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. I'd be shocked if he didn't attend, actually. He has been urging Western allies to step up deliveries of air defences for months amid increasing Russian attacks. UN officials said May was the deadliest month for civilian casualties in almost a year. The summit will focus on defence and deteriorate in the context of Russian invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine is not a NATO member, but was asked to be admitted as soon as possible after its war with Russia ends. NATO's outgoing Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said it was inevitable that Ukraine would eventually become a member, but not until after the war. Russia fiercely opposes Ukraine joining the blog, fearing it would bring the alliance's forces too close to its own territory. We'll be announcing new measures to strengthen Ukraine's air defences to help protect the cities and civilians from Russian strikes, Mr. Biden has said. I will be meeting with President Zelensky to make clear our support for Ukraine is unshakable. UN Security Council is also meeting on Tuesday at Ukraine's request. UN Security Council Antonio Guterres joined Western officials in condemning Russia's missile strike on Ukraine. Kiev's Mayor Vladimir Klitschko declared on July 9th a day of mourning following the deadly attacks on the capital. Yeah, just a still from a video showing the moment before the missile hit the children's hospital there. And you can see the smoke in the background, obviously other targets that were hit. 2 people died from the massive flattening part of the children's hospital, Ukraine's biggest Pala district facility, and a search for survivors beneath the rubble was completed on Tuesday morning. Ukraine's SBU security service published photos of what it said were fragments, including an engine part of a Kh-101 cruise missile fired by Russia. In a statement, the SBU said it expects conclusions are unequivocal and it was a targeted attack by Russia. The Kremlin denied carrying out the attack, and Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zalewska claimed the blast was caused by misfiring NASAMS air defense missiles. Yeah, of course, it's someone else's fault. But the UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine said it was a high likelihood that Russia carried out the attack on the children's hospital. Officials said the video footage and the site assessment indicate that the building was hit directly by a Russian missile. BBC verifies and that analysed 2 videos showing the missile striking the hospital and have geolocated each to confirm the strike's locations. 6 munition experts who saw the footage unanimously agreed that the missile was not an air defense missile. They all said that they cannot be definitive about the type of munitions used, but formed a consensus that it was likely to be an air-launched Russian missile. 4 of the 6 specifically mentioned the Russian Kh-101 missile as a possibility in line with the claims by the SBU. Speaking to the BBC, one expert expressed notably the presence of small turbofan engine at the rear of the missile, which they observed was consistent by the Kh-101. President Zelensky called the attack brutal and described the Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin as a bloody criminal. Pictures from the scene at the blast of the Kyiv hospital, which specializes in cancer treatment and organ transplant, show children hooked up to IV drops sitting outside the damaged facility awaiting evacuation. That's horrible. I hate seeing that. My poor child. Mr. Zelensky said that Russia had launched more than 40 missiles on Monday, damaging almost 100 buildings in Kyiv, Dynamo, Snowflake, Komorishkis, and the hometown of REGANELITE. His government in Kyiv said it desperately needs new US-made Patriot air defense missiles, but Western officials have been reluctant to surrender any more of the limited number of surface-to-air batteries scattered across the NATO alliance. The new UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also condemned the attack, calling it the most deprived of actions. Britain has been one of Ukraine's key Western allies. Keir has vowed that his new administration will maintain support for Kyiv. He is set to meet with President Biden at the White House on Wednesday on the sidelines of the NATO summit. Mr. Peskov told the BBC that the Kremlin would be following the gathering extremely closely. It is an alliance which has repeatedly openly declared its aim to deliver Russia a strategic defeat on the battlefield, Mr. Peskov. Meanwhile, Russian officials said a fire had broken out at a power substation in the Rostov region bordering Ukraine, and overnight drone attacks. The regional governor said 4 people were killed and 20 were injured by attacks by Ukraine over the past day. So yeah, that's where they hit the strike there. And obviously the children's hospital there. Yeah, pretty horrible stuff there. The Russians are unable to hit military targets, so they're firing barrages meant to kill as many civilians as possible, says Zhao. Disgusting, says Terry Regan. 6 kids outside the hospital, says Zhao. Yeah. I think this is definitive now in Russians' reputation, says Zhao. Yeah, it's gonna take a while for you know, a new administration, a new president. Things could potentially change. It could potentially change. It's not guaranteed, but it's very possible, obviously. There. So I haven't got the camera angle sorted, but I just want to check something here while I just make sure things are set up for you guys. That should, can that work? Yeah, that can work there. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I've got this set up before I use it. So we'll have a quick look at the Kyiv Independent, guys. See what's highlighted there, and then what we'll do is we'll go to the funny memes. I'm probably not gonna go all the way up to 8:30 because I still need to have dinner. So I'm actually thinking maybe it'd be best if I cut short in the next 10 minutes or so, just so I can have dinner before Max's live stream. We have to send greetings to North Korea. Keep up the good work. 30, please. Right, so let's have a look at the Kyiv Independent, guys. Let's see what they've been saying here. So the first stuff they got here: nearly $37,000 stolen from bank accounts of fallen soldiers in Dynamo here. So a criminal group stole 1.5 million from bank accounts of fallen soldiers in the city of Dynamo in Donetsk Oblast. The State Security Service (SBU) have reported. The suspects, with the help of an employee of the Regional Bureau of Forensic Medicine, stole payment cards and mobile phones registered in the online banking system from dead soldiers in a morgue. Wow, that's so bad. That's so bad. That's disgusting. Dead soldiers. No worries, Genie Bottle. Thanks for popping by. Law enforcement service detained all 5 members of the group. They were charged with theft, fraud, and unauthorized interference with automatic information systems, according to the statement. The criminal group withdrew cash, took out loans, transferred money of their own accounts using stolen details. One of the suspects was an IT specialist who changed passwords and gained access to the fallen soldiers' banking online. 20 victims have been identified so far, the State Security Service said. During the searches, police seized mobile phones, computer equipment, SIM card, military clothing and equipment, and draft records. The suspects remain in custody and face up to 8 years in prison, according to State Security Service. Yeah, 2 right and all. That's absolutely disgusting. 8 years. Absolutely terrible here. Some other stories here. Ukraine to be represented at the 2024 Olympics by a small number of athletes in history. So that's really good. Obviously, Ukraine will be taking part in the Olympics, which is in a couple of weeks' time, obviously, as well. Not really going to read too much into that. I can't really get rid of that box. There we go there. Other news as well. Zelensky arrives in Washington to participate in NATO summit, which we've already kind of talked about already. So yeah, he's arrived obviously today. They're going to be campaigns to try and get more air defense missile systems obviously there. And also including F-16s there, he says there. Enhanced security guarantees for Ukraine, including weapons, financial aid, and political support. And hopefully, he'll get some concessions, I will say, from that summit, without a doubt. They want security guaranteed military funding commitments from allies as well, doing everything possible to secure that Russia's terror is defeated. It's not crucial for our current essential for everyone and every partner in all nations. Zelensky said needs to address. Yep. So yeah, obviously, you know, F-16s, more air defense systems, obviously, to protect Ukrainian civilians. Obviously, those are the main things there. And finally, we'll go to this one, and then we'll head to the funny memes. The US announced the moves against Russia-linked bot farms aid at spreading disinformation. So yeah, the Russian state TV channel RT obviously propaganda channel. So the US Justice Department announced on today that it had seized 2 dormant names and searched more than 950 accounts on X involved in a bot farm linked to the Russian state media outlet RT, which is aimed at spreading disinformation in the US. The bot farm used generated AI to create accounts on X who often claim to be in the US. The falsified accounts will then spread Russian propaganda talking points aimed at the American public. The US official said that Russia engaged in widespread campaign of digital misinformation and hacked in the past 2 American presidential elections, with particular effort dedicated to the 2016 election. Russia has also been accused of meddling in the UK's 2016 Brexit referendum. The bot farm was organised by Russian national who worked as the deputy editor-in-chief of RT in 2022. Sorry, there's a little moth in here. Hopefully it doesn't fly into my mouth while I'm talking. That would be very bad. And expanded with funding from the Kremlin in collaboration with an official from Russia's federal security system, FSB, according to the Justice Department. The organization reportedly uses email accounts registered on the 2 US-based dormant names, which violated the International Emergency Economic Power Act. The payment system also violates federal money laundering laws, the Justice Department has said. X has suspended the accounts in question. With these actions, the Justice Department has disrupted a Russian government-backed AI-enabled propaganda machine to use a bot farm to spread disinformation in the US and abroad, said Attorney General Merrick Garland. FBI Director Christopher Wilde added that the move represents a first in disrupting a Russian-sponsored generated AI-enhanced social media bot farm. This obviously, another thing I will say, obviously, Elon Musk will be under pressure to make it more difficult for bots to create X accounts. They need to make it more difficult for them. So they need to obviously add more security safeguards. X does need in order to stop bots being easily created for accounts. They need to make it more difficult for them. The Justice Department, in partnership with the FBI, the US Cybersecurity Mission Force, the CMFF, as well as Cyber Defense and Intelligence Agency from Canada and the Netherlands, also released a joint cybersecurity advisory that detailed how the bot farm used AI to prevent further use of such methods. The Justice Department's announcement follows a similar investigation by the BBC published earlier in July, which alleged that the network of Russia-based websites posed in as US newspapers were behind a campaign of AI-assisted fake news storage aimed at the upcoming American presidential election. Yeah, this is where social media needs to do more to clamp down on this stuff. One high-profile example was a fake story claiming that Ukraine's First Lady, Ola Zuzka, had purchased a £4.8 billion Bentley luxury car with US taxpayer money. The story was filled with errors, and it used apparent AI-generated video of the alleged Bugatti salesman who purposely confirmed that Zelensky had bought the vehicle. While the story was quickly debunked by BBC and others and denied by Bugatti, which threatens legal action against those who spread it, the story has reached at least 12 million users on X. And this is the problem. Even though it's been debunked, the fact is that the information is out there, and some people will see that and not realize and not know that it was a fake story. But it will seed into the minds of people that, hey, they're we're paying in US taxpayer money is going towards this, and it's like, no, that's not true. That's not true. But people will still buy into it, and that's the problem. But yeah, social media companies need to do more to clamp down on AI bots. They need to make sure that they need to make people jump through hoops to create accounts for social media, for Twitter, for Facebook, for Instagram. All these social medias need to make people jump through hoops to create an account. Now they need to make it more difficult. If you are a human, you should be able to pass quite fine. But if they're an AI bot, they need to make it more difficult. They need to make it more difficult, and maybe even going as far as perhaps even setting a photo up as well. Maybe that's probably the way, because I do know obviously there are some social media websites, some social medias out there where you actually have to have physically show yourself taking a picture of yourself as well, which is a bit odd. So guys, just before we head out, just less than under 15 minutes to go, I thought we could do the funny memes for you guys. I've got 5 for you here today, guys, so I hope you guys enjoy them. Are you guys looking forward to the funny memes? Yes, I hope so. It's so great to see the lava lamp back in full force as well, guys. Absolutely beautiful. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, very good stuff. So guys, I hope you guys enjoy the funny memes. Got 5 for you today. Let's go. I'm pretty busy today, so if you could just go ahead and offend yourself for me, that would be great. Thanks. When I complained to Amazon about a missing parcel and he asked me to send photographic evidence. I don't know how people get eaten by sharks. I mean, how do you not hear the music? Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. Why science teachers should not be given playground duty. I hope you got that reference. And finally, when no one believes you, but it turns out you are right, I'm still right. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly the smirks and the faces of what every Conservative thinks, even after they got destroyed at the UK general election. Hope you guys enjoy it. Stephen Banker, thanks for popping by. I greatly appreciate it. So, guys, yeah, we are wrapping things up. Just a reminder, I will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. with a live stream of the Snowflake Watch covering the latest stuff there. Plenty of clips, and that will obviously be going through there. So do feel free to come and join me tomorrow on the Snowflake Watch at 8 p.m. UK time, guys. Yeah, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you guys all for your comments. Really, really appreciate it. And thanks for coming by. I really, really appreciate you guys. But let me know what you guys thought of some of the stories that we covered today. Talking about the French elections, talking about what's happening in Gaza. Could Kamala Harris be a replacement for Joe Biden? The Panama Canal, and obviously Biden condemning Russian brutality, and some of the stories that we covered obviously on the Kyiv Independent. Let me know your thoughts and feedback on those stories and more in the comment section down below. But just before you head out, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.